History is filled with almosts, with those who almost adventured, who almost achieved, but ultimately, for them it proved to be too much. Then there are others, the ones who embrace the moment and commit. And in these moments of truth, these men and women, these mere mortals, just like you and me, as they peer over the edge, they calm their minds and steel their nerves with 4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
With the pullback yesterday for Vechain, there were some fantastic opportunities to buy the fear. In this video, we're going to dive down into the technical analysis on Vechain to see exactly what we could expect to happen next. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and you will not miss another Vechain update. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump down to the chart here and actually take a look at what is going on with Vechain. So we're going to start things off with this weekly chart, guys, and we're going to just really review this overview of where things are looking like they're going for the rest of this bull run. Now, things really kick-started back in March of 2020, as many of the regular viewers will know, and this is where the bull run really kick-started really well. Vechain really popped to the upside, hitting new all-time highs around August before a pullback for the latter part of the year of 2020. Around November time, we bottomed out, and then we started to see a good surge to the upside, topping out with wave 3, just up here at around the 12th of April, around that kind of week. Now, this actually then saw us with 18,295% in gains before we started to see the pullback for wave 4. This 4th wave correction was a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average a good position ahead of this 5th wave to the upside. Now, obviously, we had formed a cup and handle pattern, and it's quite clear on this weekly chart, something that we could still potentially fulfill and continue this growth to the upside. That would actually target 22 cent. On the daily, however, it doesn't look like that is something that is likely to happen. With the cup and handle pattern only being 60 to 70% accurate, it is more likely that we're going to deviate away from it right now. I think too much time has passed and the pattern has a little bit distorted on the daily chart. Whereas it does look pretty neat on the weekly, I don't think it's something that we're likely to expect to happen next. Obviously, though, there is a good kind of impulsive move yet to happen here with Vechain, targeting out some pretty good areas. Now, on this weekly chart, we have an optimistic view, okay? We basically have these 5 impulse waves, and if we actually take a trend-based Fibonacci retracement with those extensions, we can take the wave 2 and wave 3, followed by the wave 4, into consideration, which actually shows us moving up to a 4.236 extension of $1.20. This is a pretty, pretty much the maximum of where I do anticipate Vechain going based on the current information that's readily available. Now, of course, if Vechain go ahead and do something different that we've not yet seen, then we might actually go above $1.20. But if Vechain continues the way that it has been, the trends are indicating that we are more than likely just going to top out at about $1.20. So anywhere between $1 and $1.20 might be a good area to consider exiting the project. Now, this is just the weekly, and if we actually jump down into the daily, we get a little bit of a different approach if we only take into consideration wave 3 and wave 4, 2 anchor points rather than 3. This shows us with $1.01, and I'll get into that in a moment. But at this point, guys, I do want to kind of acknowledge our sponsor of today's video, which is Crypto.com. As indicated with the epic intro of today's video, Matt Damon has, of course, come out as the frontman for Crypto.com in a new ad. Crypto.com have basically put their money where their mouth is and are absolutely going nuts with sponsorships across the board. Recently, we have obviously covered the Formula 1 team from Aston Martin, also having sponsorship from Crypto.com, UFC, for example, and a whole host of sports teams across the board. This is a $1 million ad, I believe, or $100 million ad that basically is aimed to bring mass adoption to Crypto.com. Basically, Crypto.com is the fastest growing crypto app out there at the moment. And this video, within the first few hours, has already had 1 million views on YouTube. This is a fantastic opportunity to see mass adoption of Crypto.com. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, there is a link in the description down below. And Crypto.com is not only is it the fastest growing crypto app, but you can also buy cryptocurrency at the true cost. You may have noticed that different exchanges have different prices for different cryptocurrencies. This is because sometimes the fees that they actually charge are built into the price of the cryptocurrencies. Now, when it comes to Crypto.com, you're you're actually paying for the true cost of the cryptocurrency itself. So you don't have to worry about different fluctuations and different exchanges. Now, of course, it goes a little bit above and beyond just this, though. And one of the most lucrative parts of the platform, not only is it the cryptocurrency, earning a nice passive income from staking, but they also have a debit card. And their debit card allows you to earn a pretty good cashback on your everyday expenses. Everything from 1% all the way through to 8% in cashback rewards. Those rewards are paid with the CRO token, and again, that's an appreciating asset. So what is 3% today could turn into multiple percentages in the future. So again, this is looking pretty good. And again, we use on the channel here the Royal Indigo and Jade Green cards. This was something that we used for Chris's Range Rover when we paid for that. And this allowed him to earn 3% cashback on a pretty hefty expense, right? And again, that was paid in CRO, which was then staked, and earning even more passive income on this bull run. So by the time the actual bull run comes to a peak, the CRO rewards will be significantly higher than they actually were when we got paid them. So again, there are other benefits to also consider: free Spotify, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the way through to airport Airbnb and airport lounges. This is a fantastic opportunity to get into, a card that actually pays you for using it. So if you're not familiar with Crypto.com, links in the description down below. If you sign up for the Crypto.com card, then you'll also get $25 to get you kickstarted. Guys, let's get back into Vechain. Now, obviously, as we jump down into the daily chart here, we're going to take a look at what is going on with the most recent price action. So we can see that we had the pullback yesterday, but we also had a pretty good recovery. You can see the old cup and handle here, but the deviation away on this daily chart is actually indicating that we're probably not going to be moving to that 22-cent target through the cup and handle pattern. Instead, something else will actually help push us towards those levels. As indicated on the weekly chart, we do have some interesting levels here based on the top of wave 3 and the bottom of wave 4, indicating that $1.01 zone for Vechain. So again, looking to get conservative kind of price expectations, that would actually sit at about $1 with an overwick up towards the $1.20 if you're really experienced in the space. If you want to be conservative, definitely be looking at the 87 to $1 range. Okay, those are going to be the areas that I would be really paying attention to. Now, after yesterday's pullback, we can see the stochastic RSI has pulled down nicely, allowing this daily chart to grow once again to the upside. So again, we're looking to find good support and resistance. This is something that we'll check out on the hourly chart in a moment to see if there are some interesting buy zones. Now, of course, if you're looking to buy up some Vechain, it's important that we know whereabouts we're going to buy them and what exchanges we will use. Obviously, Crypto.com has sponsored this video, and Crypto.com do sell Vechain if you're of interest. Now, what we're going to do is just pay attention to this. We can see down here that we found good support just here yesterday, which was basically 11.7 cent. We got the bounce from there, and now what we're turning into support is 12.2 as we continue this growth to the upside. So before we jump down to the hourly, what we're going to do is jump over to the advice.io dashboard and talk about what's going on here with Vechain from an underlying data point of view. Now, obviously, advice.io use artificial intelligence and machine learning to help us understand the underlying value of cryptocurrencies. It's important that we actually acknowledge what's going on in the background because it helps us understand the charts a little bit more clearly. So here we have a Vechain overall rating of an A2. So A2 rating, guys, is the best rating that we've ever seen advice.io actually give a cryptocurrency, and this is indicating to us top tier, right? This is the best that we've ever seen a cryptocurrency get from an overall rating perspective. So again, we already know that the platform and the artificial intelligence here is actually rating Vechain very, very well right now. As we come down, we have a fear and greed index that is specific to Vechain. Again, this is an A2 rating, looking very, very good, very greedy right now. So experienced traders would potentially be looking to take some profits, but otherwise retail investors will be, of course, FOMOing in, chasing those green candles. And the sentiment here is basically that more people are likely to buy than sell right now in the case of VET. So at the AMI-HAD ratio, guys, this is an A2 rating. Again, no problems with liquidity. You can buy and sell Vechain pretty fluid here, no problems whatsoever. As we come down to a Sharpe ratio, again an A2 rating, well above the 50-day average. This is indicating that the rewards outweigh the risks and that we might want exposure to Vechain. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, Chris is not a financial advisor, so it's important that you do your own research and understand where your support and resistance levels are, and obviously understand the underlying data. Now, if you're not familiar with advice.io, there's a link in the description down below, completely free to sign up, and you're going to be able to get much more clarity on your cryptocurrencies. Now, I was moving across again, we have the moving averages. These are A2 rating. So basically the 10, 50, and 100 day, they're absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with those moving averages. And the profitability, guys, as I said earlier, an A1 rating here. This is really well, obviously 0 to 18,000% in such a short space of time. It really does outperform things like Bitcoin and Ethereum quite massively. So let's jump back down to the charts and actually get into that hourly chart, right? Because this is where we actually take a look at where we're finding support, right? So finding support right now on 12.5 𝗲𝗡. And again, we're looking to lower that stochastic RSI, right? So we can see that we could potentially come down to the 12.2 as we lower the stochastic to the oversold area, look for the bounce and the push to the upside. Now, what we do is we throw the volume in here. We can see that basically that sentiment that we've been talking about isn't necessarily 100% right. We can see that the volume have been moving up here as we were pushing the price up, but most recently we have seen a bit of a push to the downside and an increase in volume. This is something that I don't think is sustainable, considering the artificial intelligence has already indicated to us that people are more likely to buy. So I think as soon as we hit these kind of levels of 12.5 we're seeing the bounce and push to the upside because people are buying that fear right up and taking Vechain right back to the upside. So overall, we did find some interesting targets that were set. We obviously had the pullback from yesterday after the liquidation event, and again, it pulls us down to a nice buy zone where we can continue the growth overall. The correction on the daily stochastic RSI is pretty promising. It allows us to correct things and allows us to continue the growth in the coming weeks. Ultimately, we are of course targeting out 15.2 on that journey to the 618 coming in at 19.3 △. And again, I think ultimately everything for Vechain is looking pretty promising longer term, and they obviously do expect some volatility on the smaller time frames. If we're ever in doubt, we zoom out, we pay attention to what is going on with our weekly chart, because the weekly chart shows you the overall structure, and this structure is looking very, very good, very promising on where they're likely to end the bull run. Ultimately, things do not move up in straight lines, and the volatility in the space is what makes it so lucrative. The main thing here is to make sure you're not shaken out of the space and that you do not act emotionally, but instead act logically and work towards the common goal of moving Vechain up towards that dollar level. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there, but if you have found it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.